Hey, welcome back to the Dusty Wheel. I'm your host, the Innkeeper, and this is our live call-in talk show all about the Wheel of Time. Now, before I bring my guest in, I want to make a couple notes. First of all, hopefully you saw that the Wheel of Time on Amazon Prime is running a new book club. They're going to start this next Wednesday, I think May 6th. I think they're hashtag Book of Time. Sounds like a lot of fun. They want us to start reading the prologue to The Eye of the World and Chapter 1. And somehow they're going to piece together a conversation between all of us. We look forward to kind of finding out how that's going to take place. So make sure you go follow them on Twitter. I think they also announced it on Instagram. I'm sure we'll learn more about this as the next week progresses. But along with that, I wanted you to know that kind of to support fans who might be interested in following along, we're going to do a book club giveaway. So I have 3 copies of The Eye of the World. If you want a chance to win one of those, you go on Twitter, find us at the Dusty Wheel. You can find our link in the description. And just make sure to kind of follow the instructions. You'll find the post there. It says to like and follow that, and also retweet that post, and then follow us and subscribe on YouTube. And if you do that, you'll be entered in to win one of these 3 copies of The Eye of the World. Hopefully, if you have one of these, though, you can choose to have one of these mugs. So take a look at this mug here, right? You know, if you have The Eye of the World, maybe you can get a little Dusty Wheel mug if you're a winner. So we're going to pick that winner next May 6th, Watt Wednesday, the day that the Wheel of Time on Amazon Prime book club reread, whatever we're going to call this, begins. So that's what I wanted to announce. Now, without further ado, let me welcome to the show my distinguished guests, the four horsemen, is that what I call you? I don't know, of the Wheel of Time apocalypse here. So let me introduce these wonderful people. Up in the corner we have Brett from the Wheel Weaves. Give them a little wave there. Yeah, the Wheel Weaves podcast. If you have never followed them, Brett and Danny, they're great. New reader, old reader, pro novice thing going on. It's a lot of fun. And that's unfortunately why she's not watching the show tonight. She's staying away because we are definitely going to be spoiling things. For those of you that are wondering that right now, yes, this is our Wheel of Time variety episode. We're going to be covering some, everything from the beginning to the end. It's going to be random. It's going to be goofy, but it's going to be a lot of fun. So yes, there's going to be spoilers today. Now, next to Brett, we have Josh from the Black Tower podcast. I want to give a wave over there. Josh is here. If you haven't followed the Black Tower podcast, they're hilarious. The last episode I listened to was I think it was a couple weeks ago, and you guys were actually doing some karaoke on it a bit, and that was amazing. And I don't know if that's every episode, but you need to keep doing it, is my point. So
it happens.
It happens. Okay. So
from time to time.
You can find, by the way, all the links to their accounts in the description of this video. Then we also have Joe from Takaranriad, the Wheel of Time Showcast. Joe has actually been with us before. Joe, it's great to have you back.
Thanks.
You're one of the veterans on the show. Yeah, it's a lot of fun to have you back here. I can't wait to hear your opinions about our first topic. But last but not least, Katy Sedai. Katy is, I ran into her on Instagram, I guess not physically, but just, you know what I mean, social media wise. And because she's out in London right now, correct?
She's England.
So she's here at 3 a.m. Is that what it is?
It's
2
a.m. Yeah.
2 a.m. That's what we call at Theoryland a hardcore fan freak. At 2 a.m., you're on a live call-in talk show on the internet. That's impressive. So Katy covers topics that's awesome on Instagram. Go follow her on Instagram. I love the way what you're doing there, the format, short, engaging kind of videos, just random topics that sometimes come up, things you want to cover. She's a lot of fun and we'll have her back. I'm excited to do a show and have you back here in probably a month. We'll figure that out. And I think we might be, you and I have chatted, maybe we'll be talking about intimacy and sex in the Wheel of Time. That'll be a lot of fun. So
yeah, I'm excited.
Yeah, that's gonna be a good episode. So, okay.
Yeah.
You all are here. I really appreciate you making time to come on the show tonight. And before we jump into Wheel of Game Time and have a little fun, I want to cover some of the news that just came out recently. Sally Richardson Whitfield, the director of episode 5 and 6, went on Instagram yesterday and had a couple things to say about the show. And it's funny because she started off kind of this like, well, I can't say much. And it was really funny. The way she described the show was like obvious. And she's like, okay, you all know what the show is now, but I can't tell you, but Rosamund Pike's in it, but I can't tell you, but she's a lead character and, And so she was really funny about that. But then she did proceed to kind of give us some interesting facts. So I thought we'd chat about those for a good 10, 15 minutes here. So, Joe, you've heard this. What came out of what she said that kind of piqued your interest? Like, what was what was the biggest kind of, I don't know, reveal for you?
So there was a lot of things, but if I had to pick the biggest, I'd probably say, so she mentioned the length of time it takes to film the episodes. She said normal television usually takes about 7 to 9 days per episode. For Wheel of Time, it took about 15 to 20 days. And then she mentioned that there's about 3 or 4 sequences that she shot with 300 people in them.
So yeah, let's cover those two ideas, right? We have this 15 to 20 days, right? This idea that, so immediately for me that's cost, right? You're shooting something from 9 to 12 days versus 15 to 20. You're doubling your cost there at least. And then she talked about, I think along with this, like she went out 2 months early or something and did a lot of kind of prep work for this.
Yeah.
So
yeah, it sounded like she had 2 months of prep work and then 2 months of actually filming.
Yeah. Like that to me at least. Again, it comes back to, it sounds like they're taking this seriously, which I'm excited about. I don't know, how did that make you feel, Josh? Just hearing that, I don't know if this is the first time you've heard this, but like, what does that mean to you that they're 15, 20 days on an episode?
It is actually the first time I heard it. As I mentioned earlier, I was at work today, so I wasn't able to tune in. I was a little sad I missed it, but hearing that right now, that is, it's a nice warm feeling on the inside because it tells me they care, and it tells me that they're going to do it right. And it is reminiscent to me of when they originally made the Lord of the Rings movies, and they went the extra 10 miles to make sure that props were unique, settings were unique. They didn't scrimp on, people needing to be in the scene. If they needed 300 people in the scene, they got 300 people to be in the scene. They weren't going to CGI superimpose anybody. So it was very, very exciting, very encouraging, and made me very, very happy that not only are the production crews taking this seriously, but the production company is taking this seriously as well.
Yeah, does that stand out to either any of you? I mean, other than kind of just general excitement and kind of that awareness that they're taking this seriously, does it reveal anything else to us about what they've either filmed or haven't filmed, or did that inadvertently tell us anything that we didn't already know about the first 6 episodes?
I think it told us that they're for sure going to make sure they edit out all the Starbucks coffee cups out of all the scenes. So I assume that's what the extra 10 days are for. Yeah.
I swear they definitely need to have that at least, as a joke in one of the scenes, or something to that effect. Yeah. Not like actually in the show, but as their spoiler reel, I want to see Starbucks cups like everywhere. It'd be awesome if you just like walked in a room and they're just all over the place.
Just everywhere. Yeah.
They're all like filming.
Maybe a gag reel or a takeout,
Was there something else, Katie, that she said that you thought was kind of interesting or compelling, that was a reveal?
I mean, one thing that I thought was interesting was when she was talking about what the show was that she compared it to Lord of the Rings and Harry Potter. And I thought that was interesting to compare to those 2 shows versus some other shows that people might be familiar with, like Game of Thrones. There's definitely like a different audience, I feel like, for Harry Potter and Game of Thrones. And so comparing it to Harry Potter was just interesting to me.
Yeah, it is good. I mean, those are epic fantasies, right? Hopefully it means that they're doing it, I guess it just depends on how you feel about the Lord of the Rings ones, if you felt like there were just too many movies or they went too long. But for me, it's just like, no, they're putting the time, they're not rushing. I think this pairs really well with some of the stuff that Rafe said the other day, where he talked about just the fact that they're not cutting as many, this idea like, no, they're going to cut people and all these other things. And he's like, well, yeah, we can't stop at every inn on Rand and Matt's travels.
Right.
That's true. So there's going to be some things that are obvious that we cut, but we're not merging characters that you have to be worried about. You're going to see your favorites. And so this goes along. I feel like her comments are just going to double down on all of this feeling that like it's okay,
So I'm wondering, does anybody have any ideas of what those scenes are with the 300 plus people? She said it was about 3 to 4 sequences. She said with about 300 people in them. So
yeah,
I'm really hoping for a winter night scene with
definitely.
hundreds of Trollocs, like mass chaos, the whole village running, Trollocs chasing them. Like I'm hoping for a good winter night.
Oh, yeah,
She probably won't be the director for those, though, right?
Yeah,
'Cause she's 5 and 6.
Yeah, she's 5 and 6.
Oh.
So yeah, so that's an interesting point. I hadn't ever thought about this. When they say 300 and 400 people, I think to myself like, oh, these must be people. I don't think to myself like, oh, I wonder if this is some like CGI'd, like you brought up Trollocs, and I was like, oh, that would be interesting where they're using some maybe more practical effects, or I hadn't gone down that road, but yeah, like 5 and 6 does bring up. I don't know. Yeah, I mean, was there one, Joe, that stuck out to you? That
it does not fit any of my previous episode breakdowns, which I'm starting to throw out the window. So, I mean, I guess okay. So I have a new spring flashback going on in episode 5 and 6. So it could be a new spring flashback. It could be Camelin. This is kind of, if we're kind of sticking where the most of season 1 is going to be Eye of the World, this is probably around the time they get to Camelin. So that's going to be large.
I feel like Logain would be a good one right here too, right? Yeah. Like the capture or the battles around him. Didn't we know? So I thought we also knew that. Well, this goes back to that question. Peter Franzen, I thought he was here at the same time, and he talked about being part of big battles.
He was in 3 and 4. That was the Wayne Yip episodes.
No, he wasn't. No, he was part of. He was out there during in January, February. I thought. Maybe he's also crossed. You're right. No, I think you're right. He does also cross into at least episode one of the two, episode 3 or 4. But I think he is also part of episode, at least one of the two, episode 5 and 6, because he was at the table read for 5. I thought. That's how we got introduced to him. So
he was. Yeah, that's when we saw him first.
So it's Peter Franzen, and he's the warder to Kareen. Again, I get the whole flashback or Logain potentially. It was like nice confirmation. I kind of wonder if she gave us that because Peter had already kind of given us. So I was like, I was in a scene where some people were battling. She did say, she brought this one. I want to bring this last piece up, which I thought was interesting. She said something about a new fantasy character.
Oh, yes.
So I don't know, Brett, did you hear that aspect of her interview? Did you hear the new fantasy character thing that she said?
I missed that part of it, so no, I don't have anything on that. Yeah.
So what's really funny, she was kind of coy about it a little bit. She was like, there's this character that's it's like a fantasy character, which is interesting. Like I doubt she would have said that. It's like it's a knight or something like that to that effect. Like, and so fantasy characters. Anything stick out to you around the adaptation that this was just like obvious or? Maybe something that's not so obvious. Like, what would be the fantasy character that she might be talking about?
Could be Loyal. Are we talking?
Yeah. So Loyal could be, right?
Yeah.
She said. Now people are kind of quibbling on this. I thought she used the word new, and people are like, well, if he was in episodes 3 and 4, but for her he'd be new. Like it's one of these where I heard Green Man, right? That's potential.
Semeshta.
Semeshta, right? I did like. I think. I saw Jen from Takaran Riyadh. I thought she mentioned also Machin Shin. Like would that be considered a character? Like would the Black Wind?
Talks.
And I didn't get the context, but is she talking specifically about a character or maybe like a character type? Because
she didn't say. It was that vague.
There's a lot of that in the Wheel of Time that sort of goes against. The standard format. So, I mean, if, just going along with parading Logain through Camelin, maybe the new character could be introducing, Elida or something along those lines.
Yeah. So in other words, like we're reading a little bit more into it than necessarily she was intending where, like she's not. So, and it's funny because we've all like, I don't know, right? Like
happens a lot with obsessive fandoms.
Yeah. Right here, we're on a live call and talk show on YouTube about this book. We care, and that is a funny aspect to me when I listen to a lot of the actors describe it. Some you can tell really know the books really well, and then they describe it like they're not dumbing down is the right word. They're just making it consumable for people that have never heard of this, right? Like they use like words like sorceress and like you're a wizard, Harry, that kind of thing. It's like, but
You're a wizard, Rand.
She did kind of go like, it's like a new fantasy character, so it's kind of hard to know exactly what she meant, right? Like, was this new to her episodes? Did she mean, like a tree, like what does she mean? So yeah,
it could be even like introducing the dragon as like a character, right?
Oh, interesting. Yeah. Or one thing that came, Shamael. So he's kind of that mix, right? Like she could definitely think of however they've approached or explained a Shamael. It could be that he's not like he's a person, but he's also this thing. So that one hit me too. Maybe a Shamael would be kind of a fun one. So anything else that stood out that you think is like worth noting that kind of might have revealed something to us?
No, she just mentioned lots of locations in remote places. That was one other thing that I pointed out that I noticed. And we know she was directing that episode, or at least we think she was, with the Portal Stone Waygate thing. Would that look fairly remote?
Oh, yeah, that's definitely, definitely not a portal stone. Come on. Look at that thing. It's
totally
definitely
not.
Definitely Waygate.
I mean, that would have to be really, it's not impossible, right? For people that don't care about the minutia as much, it'd be like, yeah, whatever. It doesn't have to be like indented. It doesn't, whatever. Like that's not the relevant piece. The relevant piece is like it transports them somewhere. So, I guess I shouldn't say it couldn't be.
And that's the beautiful thing about having these kinds of discussions. There's any number of meanings or interpretations that people can take away, and the best part of this is anticipation and waiting to see if we were right or if we were way off.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. And that's going to be, again, that's what this next year is going to be out for us. We're going to get a little bit more information, right? They're going to keep on doing these kind of interviews out there. We're going to get excited. We're going to be like, yes, we got a little piece of information, especially right now with everything that's going on. It's really nice of these actors and directors to go on, and they're talking to people that don't really know the books very well, and they're just asking general questions, and it's nice for them to drop little hints here and there. So I really appreciate that to Sally. If you ever saw this, thank you for those little tidbits. It made this show a lot more fun on Watt Wednesday to get a little bit more news. We haven't done news in a long time. So, okay.
It's nice to just hear about the process that goes into filming and directing, because we just come from the perspective of the book, and I don't really have a background in TV at all. So actually hearing from the director is interesting.
Yeah, and I'm hoping we get more of that. I'm trying to think who else. I thought the casting agency just did, speaking about kind of the intimacy side of things, I thought they just did an interview with an intimacy coordinator. I didn't get to watch that, but yeah, some of the pieces that it's really interesting, at least for me, because that stuff I had known nothing about, right? That's where I feel like I'm a newbie. It's like, tell me more. Like, I don't understand the minutia when it comes to directing. I just know it when it comes to metaphysics, of the Wheel of Time or something. So, now, for those of you that are watching this episode, we do a variety of different kind of episodes here at the Dusty Wheel. We'll do interviews and we do live adaptations. Tonight is one we haven't done for a while. This is our variety game show night where we have these wonderful panelists here with me, and we just spin the wheel of game time and we pick a random topic, and you get to listen to us just riff off of random Wheel of Time stuff. And then we'll transition to maybe some rants and raves about the Wheel of Time. We'll get some calls from everyone. And so, yeah, sit back, enjoy this. This is going to be a lot of fun. If you happen to be watching us on Twitter and Facebook, come see us over on YouTube. Subscribe, like the video. It's the way that other fans find out about us, and you can kind of support this content. So hopefully you'll give us a like. You'll come and spend some time in chat and talking to us. And every once in a while, we do fun giveaways, and we give away like a mug. Won't be tonight, but next Wednesday, if you're with us, Watt Wednesday, when we'll do some giveaways, and I'm sure we'll give away a mug or two. So that being said, we have a large list. Thank you for all the fans that participated on Twitter that helped us come up with these topics. I'm going to spin the wheel. My guest, I'll tell you what the number. You will not see it, but everyone else will see this. And let's give it a spin. Okay, it's number 16. We're going to go with number 16, Ishamael's dumbest plan. So this is Ishamael, I have something out for the guy, I think, but I never impressed with his plans. So let's talk the dumbest things Ishamael did or planned to do. Do any of the four of you have one that's coming to mind right now?
I've got one.
Let's hear it. Yeah, do it.
Oh my
Yeah, jump
gosh.
in.
So Rand, he goes to Shadar Logoth, and he's chasing him down Samael, and Ishamael's like, "Hey, I'm gonna help you out, buddy," and rescues him, and then works with him, and then is like, "No, don't worry, we'll meet later." And it's like, it's the classic supervillain like dumb trope. I'm going to leave you in a room with a saw and a rope, and I'm going to come back 4 hours from now, and you're going to be dead. And it's just like, come on, man! Like, know, the ultimate goal, and that, I guess the ultimate goal is to turn. They want to turn him and bring him to the shadow, but still, like, I feel like a whole lot could have been fixed if Ishamael could have just, instead of reverberating his balefire there, he could have just maybe skipped over and hit Rand.
I mean, how many times could this guy have killed somebody, killed him in a dream or something?
We've battled thousands of times. One thread of balefire would stop that.
Yeah,
absolutely. Does anyone else have one that's just that one? That one's the perfect one because his whole I'm going to turn him aspect of this thing just on, and maybe it's the whole Dark One, and Morden was too much of a wimp to step away from what the Dark One wanted, and he's like, no, the Dark One wants me to turn you, so I guess I'll have to come up with stupid plans to do that. So is there anyone else that has a dumb plan that Ishamael hatched?
So I don't know how dumb it is, but I still am confounded by why they wanted the first book. Why did they have to go to the Eye of the World? Why did Ishamael want them to go to the Eye of the World? No idea. Don't know why. We talked about it actually on our last episode because we did an Ishamael episode. Couldn't come up with a good reason, except maybe he wanted Rand to, use Sidene Untainted and then say, if you come to the dark side, you can use Sidene Untainted. That's all I got. But he gets his ass whooped by Rand.
So I can tell you a theory. So I'll try to answer your question, but I think you're right. Okay, this is the funny part about this. I might say this is Ishamael's smartest plan. So, but only if the theory's right. Only if the theory's right. So There's a seal there, correct? And technically, they hadn't all broken free, but they do all break free after that seal breaks down. And you could say that the pure Sidene that was there was actually creating some kind of bubble that was protecting it from the Dark One's taint, and it was holding all the seals to the prison, and therefore Ishamael needed Rand to be stupid enough and go up there and actually break open this shell by finding the Green Man. And now that's really elaborate, and
this gives him a lot of credit. I mean,
yeah, this does. It does.
But why wouldn't he just use the Sidene himself?
Well, he'd have to get to it, right? That's the whole thing. He couldn't get to it.
He needs Rand to find it and then get to Rand.
Because of the whole need thing, right? Because it only
they've got 3 Ta'Viren, and Ishamael was not Ta'Viren, so maybe only a Ta'Viren could find it.
I like that theory, Matt. That's a good one. I'm going with that.
This got really serious. Yeah. This turned into a theory episode. Okay.
We're supposed to shoot these down. We're supposed to laugh at these.
Yeah. Okay, so we'll move on from Ishamael's dumbest plan. Let's go again. Here we go. Number 1. Ooh, this is going to be an interesting one because I don't have a lot of knowledge. This isn't one of those things I track. Dirtiest names for inns. Now, here's the caveat. Old or new. So in other words, find one from the books or come up with your own. Does anyone have a favorite dirtiest name for inns?
Easing the Badger.
Yeah, of course.
Easing the Badger. It's classic,
right?
There. It's classic. Easing the Badger.
Yeah.
Anything else go ahead, Katie.
There's a Good Night's Ride.
Ooh, okay.
I think Swan finds that one in New Spring.
I feel like a good night's ride is not it's not dirty. It's just
it depends on how they spell night.
It's the sign that makes it dirty.
Okay. Oh, yeah. Right. It's the sign. There we go. Now
because there's the name, but there's also the sign for all of these inns.
You've made it dirty. Well done. That's true. Yeah. Well, I shouldn't say you. Robert Jordan. Well done.
Robert Jordan. Well played, sir.
Well played. That is a funny aspect of Jordan's. We won't go there tonight, but yes, his obsessions and the things he puts in the books, they make me laugh a lot sometimes.
I have to believe that he and Harriet laughed a lot. During editing, and he's like, "Hey, I slipped this one in. Did you see it?" And she was like, "Yes, I saw it."
So I'm seeing some. Let's see. The moldy hedge is King Grim gave us that. The wandering woman crossing the legs. The hide the weasel. There we go. The good queen's blessing. Mary, nice one. Right. A nerdy inn. That would have been a funny one. A nerdy inn, but a dirty new inn name, the Hairy Badger. Yeah, that's.
There you go.
That'd do it.
Oh, there we go. There's on point. We'll end this one with Mary's sheathing the sword. Thank you, Mary and Chad. Yeah, there we go. Well done. That should be yes. Let's yes. It claps all around for Mary. Okay, so
well done, Mary.
Yeah, let's take it again. Here we go. 17. Okay, so this one's kind of one of our first serious ones. 8 episodes, and what that means is Rafe recently, during the Wheel of Time on Prime panel that we did at JordanCon, he showed up. He Zoom bombed it, right? If those of you that haven't ever heard this, go check out, look up JordanCon video on YouTube. You'll find it there. You can see what happened. I was moderating that panel. It was crazy. So he came in, he bombed our panel, if you will, and then he proceeded to kind of answer some questions. And in the process, he kind of let slip that season 2 was shaping up to be 8 episodes. So my question, Brett, is that something is 8 episodes enough?
No, absolutely not. I can stop you right there.
Season 2, 8 episodes? Yeah. I was like, shoot, why didn't he say 12?
I mean,
that's true. That's
3 hours long?
Okay, that's true. If they were, as far as we know right now, the episodes are hour-long episodes. Right. And so I was like, okay, 8 episodes for the first season. I'm fine with that. But then he said 8 episodes for the second season. And I was a little bit... Now, that doesn't mean it's staying there, but I was a little bit... Was anyone else bummed, or it's an 8-episode arc, and we can get that through the books, and everyone's fine with that?
It depends on how much they plan on covering in the 8 episodes, really. I mean, if you're doing all of Eye of the World, or at least mostly Eye of the World, and maybe a little bit of The Great Hunt, I think 8 episodes is plenty to get through that. I'm curious as to when they get to, the Shadow Rising, Fires of Heaven, those books where they start getting really deep and intense and lengthy, so...
Yeah, I like Iris in chat said 35 episodes per season. Exactly. That is my kind of fan right there.
I don't know.
There you go.
That might be too boring.
That probably would be too boring. Yeah, that is where they would have to fill it with all of the braid tugging. It would just be 20 minutes of anger.
A lot of time spent on clothes and focusing, and like a Sergio Leone kind of focus on clothing and things like that.
So Katie,
I'd still watch it.
I would too.
Let's be totally clear, right? No one is none of the 5 people right here are not watching these. I don't care what they do, right? They can change anything. And critiquing it, yes, right?
That's right. Yeah.
And what that is the funny part is all of us across all of the ways that we talk about these books would absolutely just be like, oh, awesome, they cut something. Let's talk about it.
Right?
So what is, Katie, what do you think the ideal number of episodes is for the show? From a season-by-season basis.
I don't know. For me, my gut is that if they're spending this much time and money on it, they're going to put in the level of detail and world building that it needs. That they'll fit in 8 episodes, a whole lot of stuff. I mean, like we were just talking about, 300 people in 3 or 4 scenes in 2 episodes.
Yeah.
Over 2 months that they were filming. That's huge. That's twice as much as a normal show, right? So then we can say that a Wheel of Time episode, it's going to be twice of a normal show. So we can look at it as maybe 8 episodes is really 16 episodes from another show.
Okay, so you're bringing up a very excellent point here, which is if I pair 8 episodes with what Sally said, then yes, right? Like the idea that they're taking 15 to 20 days to film the episodes does suggest that they're taking care to make it pretty dense, right? It's going to be a dense subject. So you're right. 8, if this makes sense, I would take 8 episodes where they took 15 to 20 days to film it and clear the budget versus 12 episodes and it went back to the whole 9 to 12 days. You know what I mean? Like I would
or like they peaked out on the CGI or something. I would much rather like 8 high quality fantastic episodes rather than additional episodes that I was like, that scene that brought me out a little bit because the CGI was weird or something like that.
I gotta add this too, because I don't think I'm making this up. I might be, but I'm pretty sure I'm not.
I just make stuff up all the time. It
happens. I think I read something about RJ talking about if the show was, or if his books were ever made into a movie, and he said, I don't think it could be a movie because it'd have to be like 15 to 20 hours long to actually, encapsulate the story. So with him saying like 15 to 20 hours, if we're getting roughly 8 hours per season, I think it's going to do a pretty good job. So like either way, I'm happy. Yeah.
Yeah. And that's been one of the challenge for years. People have thought, the idea of the Wheel of Time being adapted into a TV series is so old that for the last couple of years, it's actually been considered to be a pipe dream. Especially after, Winter's Dragon, which will hold our opinions there. But the cool thing is that, we have an environment now where we have successful high fantasy stories in the TV format. And people are kind of rushing. That's kind of the next big thing. And I'm really excited to see, how they're going to do it. And I think that, with the attention to detail that we're talking about, and with the extra work that they're putting into each episode, I think we're going to see a product that, does it have 100% of what's in the books? No, of course not. It's an adaptation. There's just no way. But I think they're going to do a pretty damn good job. And I think I'm very encouraged. I'm very excited. So
well, Lord of the Rings was 10 hours, and look at that. That's held up for 20 years.
And people are still doing extended version watch parties of all 3 movies. That's like a 12-hour marathon. That's no joke.
Yeah.
Oh man, the chat, the chat's lighting up with hashtag Bring Back Billy. That's not a topic on the list. We'll bring that will. I'd be interested in knowing your opinions about that, but that's not on our wheel today. Nice try, Rob, but we'll get that on the wheel next time.
Billy deserves some redemption.
He does. He does.
Okay, so
I think it's cork in it, Zane.
Let's jump on to our next topic. Here we go. Oh, looks like 7 here. Okay, so this one I'm going to say changes or no changes. Okay, those are your 2 options. And what that means is you can either have an adaptation that follows the books exactly, or you can have an adaptation that does not follow it, and you have to choose. And let me start. Changes, no changes. Joe, give me a changes or no changes.
They're going to have to make changes because, in that Watt on Prime panel that you did with Rafe, where he, Zoom bombed you guys, he talked about how, and even Brandon Sanderson, when he was on the Dusty Wheel, talked about how you can't do a word for word, scene for scene adaptation from book to screen because it's 2 different mediums and it's not going to translate well. You're going to need to make changes.
But if you could choose, so if what I'm hearing is the question is, if you could choose, would you? So you are going to get the entire series. Let's say Amazon was going to buy in, right? They're going to give you all 10 seasons of the show, and you could either choose that they never make a change and you get that one, or that they make changes and you get that one. That's the question. Would you personally pick where 0 changes are made? It has to follow exactly what it says in the book, or no, I actually want the one where they make changes.
I do want the one where they make changes because while the series is amazing and great in its own right, I think there are some things that could have been done differently or better. And again, with the adaptation to television, you're going to need to make changes because some things just don't translate well to TV or to the screen. So I don't mind the changes. I would think I prefer it rather than,
interesting.
I could do without, Elaine trying to gather support from teenage nobles for the throne, for a whole book. Things like that I could do without.
I love it.
God, that's
Katie,
the book I'm coming up on my reading.
Katie, changes or no changes? If you had to pick,
Definitely changes. 100%.
Definitely changes. Okay.
Yeah, definitely changes.
Brett, changes or no changes?
So I'm going to take the other side, no changes, but that's strictly so that Danny can watch it with me with no issues. That's my biggest struggle right now. So we're trying to figure out what we're going to do, and we don't have a good answer yet.
Yeah, that's an interesting point. Yeah.
That's exactly why I'd say changes, though, because then she could still watch the TV with you, and run the risk of things getting spoiled. But when she reads the books, she got two different new experiences.
It turns out Matt's the Dragon Reborn now. So
that's what I wanted to. So I'm assuming, Josh, you just said changes. Is that are you for?
I did.
If you could make the choice, changes.
I'm not, and I say this with a great amount of respect for the books, because we all love them. That's why we're here. And I don't think there are any places in the book that have been left wanting. There are definitely some investments that you make, some time investments. But I think that as a whole, the story works really, really well. Why I say changes is because when I sit down and watch the TV show, I want to be able to geek out. I want to be able to go, "Ooh, that was a little different. That was a little different, but I still liked it." A perfect example of this is The Watchmen. If you've ever read the graphic novel versus watched the movie, there's a key difference toward the end of that story between those two mediums. And I actually really enjoyed it because it was you still got the surprise at the end. But, all in all, the story was the same, but how they got there was a little bit different. And I really like that sort of mechanism in storytelling.
Yeah, and that's the interesting thing about this is everyone's I'm sorry, I shouldn't say everyone. A lot of fans are really tied up in this idea of no changes, but you have the books, right?
Right.
This is an opportunity, not for somebody to change it. That's not what I'm saying. This is an opportunity where it doesn't change the books. We have the books. Like we have that. All of us have lived that in our minds, at least those of us that visualize it that way, right? We've seen this play out before, and yeah, I think in the end, like just an actual retelling visually, completely, every word for word, to me it would be kind of boring. You know what I mean? Like I'm actually excited about watching the show when Rafe talks about like Logain. He's going to have an extended, that's exciting to me. This idea that we get to see something like this.
You want to see the surprise. You want to be surprised still, right? If you knew every exact thing that was going to happen scene for scene, then it'd kind of be a little bit boring. Or you want to be able to see what they're going to change, and then at least be able to complain about it online.
Yeah, we're going to have plenty to complain about.
I know what's going to happen next. No, but honestly, no matter what happens, no matter if the TV show bombs, please no. But even if it bombs and it's terrible, no matter what happens, we will always have the books.
Yep.
Yeah.
And
absolutely,
nothing's going to happen to them.
This was an interesting one. I kind of surprised how many people. By the way, everyone in chat is talking about Sexy Lamp and Min. Just lay off of Min, you jerks. So yeah, let's move on for that. I thought that was really interesting that everyone kind of mostly. Well, I shouldn't say everyone. Brett did kind of push the other side, but I feel like most of us were like, yeah,
and it's a valid point.
If I had to pick one or the other, yeah, Okay. What's funny is I'm waiting for this to kind of hit the same number, Okay, so we're at 18. Okay, I like this one. First scene, first episode. Now, I'm not asking you what is going to be the first scene, first episode. I'm asking you to put yourself in the position of being able to determine that. What is the first, not like the first 30 minutes or whatever. What is the first thing you want to see in the show? And go ahead and start on this, Brett. Like, first scene, first episode, you're sitting down with your family watching The Wheel of Time on Amazon Prime. What is it in your mind that you want to see?
So what I would like to see is Battle of Manetheren way back when. Ooh. So what caused Emond's Field to fall into what it is now? Because it kind of gives me that whole Lord of the Rings vibe. I mean, I just remember being a kid and watching that, and you see the battle scene as the first thing, like this epic battle against the armies of all the monsters. and then time passes, and then we come into Two Rivers, what it is now. So that's kind of like what's in my image.
Wow, I hadn't even gone there. They could do something on the time, like showing time pass, and just show how long it's been through something like that, right?
Yeah.
Where it's just, show 1,000 years passing, or, show things happening in a way like this is. That's an interesting one. Yeah, I like that. Yeah. Katie, what would you pick? First scene, first episode.
I would definitely pick The Wind. Just basically flying over, maybe coming from the opening credits somehow, but flying over the landscape, kind of giving us just an idea, a glimpse of how huge this world is and how complex like all the different cultures and countries and cities are. And then of course coming to Rand and Tam on the road on the west.
See, I like how you snuck that in there. I said first scene, first episode, and you gave me first two scenes, which I understand. No, but that's true.
It's kind of the same scene. Yeah.
Yeah, you're right. The Wind didn't get to the scene yet. It was like on its way to the scene, which I totally agree. I love that. There is something I do want them to capture really well, which I don't think a lot of the shows, The Witcher, and others that have come out recently have done this well, which is I want to know how big this world is, and I want to be convinced. Right. Camelin is 300,000 people, right? Like this is not a small world, and you can't show it small, or in my opinion, it just diminishes it. Not that you can't start it small, you can, but you can't. You have to give scope, and I love the idea that The Wind could give some scope there, And then, of course, Rand and Tam, right? Josh,
I'm thinking like blowing the cloak around. Ankles or something, right? Yeah. For
sure. Yeah, the Wind. I like it. Josh, what would you pick? First scene, first episode.
I'm biased here because I've read the series, and I think there's something pure. Just going through my reread and seeing, the subject of Rand and Tam, sitting by the fire, and Rand is talking about the different types of wood that you use for the fire, and there's something pure about that. And I know it's not the most exciting beginning, but I would really love to just see Rand, maybe with a good Two Rivers bow and a good stout, Two Rivers wool cloak, in the forest, maybe stalking a deer, and maybe that's where we see our first Myrddraal. Maybe where it's like, maybe he's aiming for a deer. He's like, all right, and he looks over and let's go. What the heck is that?
He double takes some
Myrddraal. As soon as he looks up again, it's gone. And, maybe start, just this very pure, very simple country folk type vibe, but with a shadow, if you will pardon the pun, of danger, something. And, that begins to bother. And from what we know of Josh Stradowski, he's an amazing actor. He's very, very capable at portraying those emotions outwards. So I would really love to see sort of that pure beginner's moment where things are simple, where things are nice, and we're getting a vibe early on that it's not going to remain that way for long.
No, I love that. That's a great idea, and that they could even do that without just pulling from an exact scene. And that is kind of one of our topics. Maybe we'll get there tonight, which is like, pulling in a new scene that we just don't see. Right. What would you pick, Joe? First, you're the director. You get to have the entire world watch it your way. First scene, first episode.
All right. So, I was going to go with the easy answer and say the empty road with Tam and Rand, but I'm thinking like, okay, we need some background to this world. So I'm thinking, boom, strike at Shia Ghul. Let's start it right away with some hardcore action, magic, all kinds of crazy things going on. Let's do it right there.
Yeah, it's such a hard what's so great about it is
they're not going to do it, but that would be, that would grab everybody's attention right there.
They could do this, right? Like they can slice this thing so many different ways. By the way, if you're you've just tuned in, we're talking all about the Wheel of Time. We're spinning a wheel. We're just kind of riffing off of Wheel of Time topics. Make sure you kind of subscribe to the channel. Give us a like. Really appreciate that. But this is a live call-in talk show. And we're about 45 minutes in. So I want to open up the phone lines for those of you that have an opinion about kind of the topics we've already covered. if you had a favorite dirty name for an inn, feel free to give us a call. If you have an episode, first episode that you think is different than our panelists here, that you think would be, worth sharing with us, please give us a call. Love to hear your opinions. That I love getting the fans in, especially in kind of just an open forum discussion like this, because there's always somebody watching that just adds just a flavor to it that we haven't kind of thought of. So yeah, feel free to give us a call. It's 1-313-825-5968. That's 1-313-825-5968. So while we see if anyone gives us a call, let's spin it. Okay. 21. Okay, I love this one. This one's great. Your presidential Wheel of Time nominee. You can choose from any character. Now, I'm going to say this, that existed in the Third Age. Okay? They had to have existed, so you still get the Forsaken. You have to pick, though, a Wheel of Time presidential nominee, someone you would like from the Wheel of Time to be your president. So let me start this off. Let me pick Katie, do you have an answer to this one?
It's pretty obvious to me. It's Egwene. She has to be the presidential nominee because she will just run the world. That's it.
So Egwene, so tell me, I want to dig into just a little bit. What attribute stands out to you the most that, where you feel like it would be on a sign somewhere that she'd be selling, she'd be like, come out and vote for me. It's like whatever, hope, or, make Randlands great again. Yeah, what's her slogan?
I don't think I can think of a slogan right now.
Okay, I'll come back.
Maybe someone in chat will
that's a great. So those of you that are watching us in chat, I want to hear a slogan for Egwene, and be nice-ish. You don't have to love her, but throw me some slogans for Egwene in the chat. That's a great. I didn't prepare anyone for this idea of the slogan, but yeah, this is I'm kind of curious, like. What would be the thing that would stand out about her?
She just would get stuff done.
Yeah, get stuff done.
Egwene. She gets stuff done.
Yeah.
Or,
it's good. I like it.
I like Andrew in chat. Egwene, I will not be used. I like it. Well done. Well done. So, Josh, what's your presidential Wheel of Time nominee?
The Lord Dragon, of course. I mean, let's skip past his dark and brooding phase. Let's go back. Let's go to Zenrand.
Okay, Zenrand.
Zenrand. He's gone through. He's taken his lumps. He's there. But Zenrand is great. He's in touch with the people. He's in tune with the people
and the land.
He's got
the land,
the land, exactly. Even the land is excited about his mere presence. Who could ask for anything more?
I love it. I love you picked the Zenrand. Zenrand is your
Zenrand 2024.
I don't think that one feels
specific.
Like that one doesn't feel fair.
Yes, please. Yeah. I want to be specific, not Darth Rand.
Right.
Okay. Before we ask for the last two, let's bring in one of our callers. From Sweden. Let's bring in. Hey, welcome to the Dusty Wheel. Wason? Is it Wason?
Yeah, I've called before.
I know you have. Welcome back, man. It's good to have you. So, what have we been talking about tonight? Which of these topics did you have an opinion on that you want to share?
I was thinking about a bit on the opening, and what I'm always imagining. I kind of go more into the credits of the opening right now, but what I kind of want for an opening, it is to have a kind of review of the world with some intense music in the background, and while then hearing Rosamund Pike reciting that classic,
yes.
Oh shoot! The opening phrase of the books that goes every time.
Yes.
Where Wheel of Time turns and Aegis Constellation and all that stuff. And have that serene voice keep reciting this phrase as music builds up, as we see the world and events that has happened in the past.
Interesting. So yeah, I love this like voiceover from Rosamund Pike. I mean, they certainly have brought on like such a great actress, and
Right.
She's got that voice that's perfect for that.
yeah,
too.
and it's Moraine, and they, you know, I mean, that's like, that works perfect. We're gonna hear her throughout the, you know, it would really work well. I love the idea of it overarchingly kind of like covering the world. Interesting that you're kind of tying in one of the ideas from our panelists here, which is, you know, maybe show some older events that have happened, or try to show time passing, but have her kind of speaking about this. Yeah, it's going to be interesting. Yeah. That could be that comes down to that, like, do they need to give people an idea of the first age, second age, third age kind of idea? You know, are we going to see this where she's talking about 7 ages, or is it really just going to be the third age? But I love that idea. That's a fantastic idea. Hey man, thank you so much for calling in. I really appreciate you staying up and watching us this late.
Absolutely. That's awesome.
We really appreciate it. It's good to hear your voice again, and I hope you'll give us another call soon, okay?
Yeah.
Okay, man. We'll talk soon.
Yeah.
Bye.
Have a good job. Bye.
You too. Yeah, he's awesome. I think that's like the third or fourth time he's called us.
That's
over the last,
awesome.
He's fantastic. Always has a great opinion there. And that's, bringing Rosamund Pike in. What do you guys think about that?
Masterful.
Yeah. She's got the perfect voice for it, and they've got to do that iconic, you know, beginning to the book, you know, that whole paragraph of the wind and the age of legend, you know, the ages. I think they're going to do that, and I think a lot of people thought, or at least, you know, people I've talked to thought that, you know, Rosamund's got that voice for it. So
I would totally be in. That would be good. I mean, it's funny. I'm watching my son. He's giving some thumbs up for Rosamund too back there. Taylor's running the show. He's like, Rosamund, yes.
Well, and even when they did that first video of the first sit down and the first read through, where they were like, "Hey, everybody, we're doing it. It's a thing. It's happening." We got just like a snippet of Rosamund Pike.
Yeah, right.
And she was saying, "Going across that river would be foolish, and you are not a fool." And I was just like, oh, I can't wait, like chills. Like to this day, even thinking about it, I just get chills. I'm so excited. I can't wait her as Moraine. And I think they did just the most amazing job. When Rafe announced that they cast her, I was running around my house screaming. It was great.
It was a good moment. It was a good moment. Well, let's bring in our next caller, Andrew from Philadelphia. Hey, Andrew, welcome to the Dusty Wheel. How you doing tonight?
Pretty good. The first caller stole my thunder with regard to the voiceover aspect. So I'll go a different way.
Okay.
In one of the panelists sort of talked about doing a flashback kind of thing. So for each of the different episodes, sort of have a different flashback, if you can do it, unless it's too much of a budget. We're kind of, you know, tied into the, you know, how Game of Thrones obviously had their beginning sort of tied into where the scenes were going to take place that season. If you kind of take it, even maybe based on a season, you do flashbacks, sort of what aspects are, you know, within the history of the world, and kind of get that idea of with the voiceover.
Yeah, that's an interesting idea. Kind of spreading that, you know, having instead of trying to cover it all in one intro, just have it change. I think I would take it from a year to year basis. I kind of like even that, like
probably, yeah,
I mean, a different kind of a different take of what the history of the world's been, a different turning even. I mean, they could play with that, right? They could show just, you know, like multiple turnings happening, and like this wheel, it goes on and on. That's a great one. While you're here, I want to ask you this one, and then we'll let you go. Presidential Wheel of Time nominee. Who would you pick in the books to be your presidential nominee?
Ooh, do we want a good candidate, or do we want a?
It's who you would vote for. It's
who would you vote for?
Caroline.
Oh, that was my pick.
Let's go different.
Yeah.
That was my pick.
That's good. That's a good one.
That's a good
hey,
one.
man, thank you so much for calling in.
I'm
really
actually
appreciate it.
curious.
Thanks.
Yeah, have a good one. Good night. Yeah, sorry. Oh, Josh, were you going to ask him a question?
I was going to ask Andrew, Pat's or Geno's? But he's gone now, so.
Sorry. Well, yeah, if you hear us in chat, leave your answer for Josh in chat, okay? Hopefully, Andrew, you're back. So, yeah, I want to go back to this presidential nominee question to the two. Brett, did you have one that hasn't come up yet that you think would be a great presidential nominee?
I did actually, and I was watching the chat a little bit here because I see a lot of like the Egwenes and that kind of thing because, you know, great leaders, but I have to pick Varen. And the reason why I have to pick Varen is because she's the Well, think about it. She's the person on the dark side who's fighting for the light, right? So like the good guys think she's a good guy. The bad guys know she's a bad guy, but she's actually a bad guy fighting for the good side. And then secondary to that is she's the one who puts Egwene in a position where she can actually gain a lot of power. So she was like able to pick like the successor, if you will, after her, right? And then, I mean, ultimately, like her curiosity is the one big thing that drives her. She doesn't have like external motivations for power. She doesn't care about any of that stuff. It's just like that gaining knowledge. So I would vote for Varen, knowing she's black. So
okay, so vote for Varen. I love this idea. Beyond the fact that I love Varen, I want to point this out for those of you who are watching. We told you spoilers, so you can't blame us. Yeah, there's spoilers. There's spoilers. So yeah, I love the Varen. Yeah, I love Amarasu in chat said Varen drained her swamp. I love it. And then we have a Tommy the Poet said Tom as vice president. Oh my gosh, I could totally get behind a Varen Tom ticket. I'm in.
Yeah.
So that'd be another dirty inn name too. Is the drained swamp.
There you go. I way to tie that back in. I love it. So let's hear this, Joe. Well, who's your candidate?
All right. So these are all great answers, but I have a problem. So I'm going to point out some problems with all these people. Dead. Right. Egwene dead. Varen dead.
Wow.
Rand, everybody thinks he's dead, and he doesn't want anything to do with being a president. All right. So
I feel called out.
So Egwene, I think Egwene, I don't know if she'd last long term. She's a little too her decisions are a little too drastic and radical, and I think eventually people would get pissed at her and forget about her. Varen, I don't think has any interest in being president as well. So that's why I agree with Andrew. He took it from me. Berylane, she's still alive. She's very savvy politically. She's been controlling the tiniest country in the world and being able to keep it afloat and being keeping all the tier and high lords from taking over and getting in there. She's going to be married to Galad at any moment now. So that's like it's a power couple you got right.
It's a power couple. By the way, I love your political discourse that you just did. It was like, hold on, let me explain why my panelists suck. Their ideas
clearly a practitioner of Dias Damar.
Dias Damar, yeah, exactly.
I see you.
No, that was a great pitch, by the way. Best pitch of the night for their political candidate. Everyone on the panel can learn from Joe. Next time, gotta follow suit there. Let's before we jump into a new category, let's bring our next caller in. We all know him very well as Norm.
Norm.
Hey, Norm! Welcome to the Dusty Wheel. How you doing tonight, man?
Norm!
Hey, guys. Hey, guys. How you guys doing? All right, so I got 3 things for you, and one of them is courtesy of Delusions of Grandel, so yes, I'm calling you out from chat. All right, first one.
Okay. Let's hear it.
So the first one is the opening scene. What you do is you have this huge column of light, and then you see the creation of Dragonmount. So there's your first opening scene right there.
Okay.
For presidential candidates, this is someone that doesn't. I say Grandel. Why do I say Grandel? Because she will. You say, "This is what I want." No, I don't want to do that. This is what I want. Okay, I'm going to do that now. I have no idea why I'm going to, but I'm going to do this now.
The office
make
furniture
you do what you want.
That's for sure.
So yes, and then for your sexy in name, how about the one-eyed snake?
Okay, by the way, I want to bring up Grendel for a second, which is I feel like maybe you're supporting her because she's compelled you, right? Like that's like you're calling on behalf of Delusions of Grendel, right? Like you're actually Delusions of Grendel made you call in to support her for president. We see you, Delusions. We see you in chat.
We won't be fooled again.
Yeah. Well, Lancer, thank you.
I don't know what you're talking about. No.
Hey, man, thanks for waiting and thanks for calling in. It's awesome to hear your voice. Hey, we'll talk to you soon.
All right, y'all. Take care.
Okay, you too. Bye. By the way, Lancer has been awesome over the many months, called in many times, and ends up in chat with us. For those of you that are watching, when we are done, we do jump over to Discord afterwards. We jump on the Couch Con, and we often continue the conversation we're having here. We get another Wheel of Time conversations on Wednesday nights. So if you follow the link to our Discord channel in the description, once we're done, and I'll even jump in there. Joe's been there, and Joe jumps in, and we have conversations there. It's afterwards. It's a lot of fun. It's our little after show, if you will. So, okay, so let's spin it again. Presidents was a fun one. Great idea. Brett came up with that idea. Nicely done.
Good job, Brett.
Nice, Brett.
You're awesome.
Okay,
Canadian, so
I'm sorry. You're awesome.
There you
go.
go.
Number 9 is going to be writer, director, actor, consultant, or fan. Those are your 5 choices, panelists. You could be a writer on the show, or a director, or an actor, or a consultant, or a fan. You can't be them all. That's the only thing you can choose is one of those 5. What do you want to be when it comes to having the Wheel of Time on Amazon Prime be released? And let's start with you, Josh. Writer, director, actor, consultant, or fan.
Wait your turn, Brett.
Yeah.
So for me, and I've said this numerous times. If you listen to the Black Tower podcast and all, I've said this numerous times. I would love to see a TV spinoff series, a Clone Wars-esque style show, The Black Tower. A whole TV show of just the goings on of the Black Tower and the Ashaman there. I think there could be potential for a spinoff show for the White Tower as well. I think it creates a really awesome storytelling system of television. So having said that, you can't strip my fandom away from me. I will always be a fan. Period.
Picking a fan.
End of story. So if my choice is only a fan or only something else, I will be a fan. However, if given the choice, I would love to be an actor, and I would love to be an Ashaman in the Black Tower. You know what? I'll be a soldier in the Black Tower.
You're like, just get me in the tower.
On the show. Just put me in the show.
I love it.
But no, I love that. I think that would be great.
Yeah. No, I think that's I just added it to the list. If we get to it, spin-off series. But I love that idea. So, Brett, you were raising your hand there. Sorry, I missed that. Go ahead. Tell us writer, director, actor, consultant, or fan.
So my answer was going to be fan, and simply for the reason that I know I would ruin any other position. Not to be trusted.
Afraid you're going to ruin the series for everyone.
Well, no, not afraid. I know that I will.
You know you would.
Yeah. We know this for fact.
Yeah. Responsible enough to step away.
Yeah. Okay, Katy, now we've had 2 fans so far with a side request to also be in the show as a Black Tower. So
initially I was thinking fan just because that's what I am, and I want to see the show and I want to experience it the way that the producers are planning. But if I had to choose something else, I would say consultant, just because I feel like I have really great ideas and I just can't give up control. And I want to be able to control, like, okay, this is the stuff from Wheel of Time that we should include. These are the details that's important, and this stuff that doesn't matter.
Yeah, this is a hard. What's so interesting about this is we've all been fans for so long, right? That it's asking us to give that up is a very difficult thing. Now,
I'm sorry, Katy. I just need to specify. I was not laughing at you, Katy. I am so sorry. I was laughing at one of the comments that came in on the chat.
Laughing at Sean Sine's comment about Brett should play Gowan because you can't ruin Gowan.
Brett, you can play Gowan. You can't ruin Gowan.
I can't do it. Yeah.
I saw that too and was laughing.
Yes, this is the danger of listening and watching all of our comments, because it's funny what you just brought up. I've had moments where I've had people be answering questions. I've been just grinning really wide, and they're talking about some serious thing, and I'm just reading the comments, and I'm like, oh my gosh, I wonder if they thought that I was laughing at them. No. Yeah. So Joe, let's hear it. Are you just a fan, or are you picking something else here?
So I thought I knew the answer to this, but then Josh said something important, right? So if I pick something other than fan, can I not be a fan anymore?
You can't experience it as a fan, right? As soon as you're behind the curtains, right? Once you're behind the curtain, right? If you're Rafe. Rafe talked about taking this up and really wanting this. Guess what? He does not get to experience this like fans get to experience it.
That's a good point.
It's how you want to experience the show. I took part in the beta read, and it changed my experience with the books and with fandom. It just, once you just, whatever it is, like you're a consultant, whatever it is, your experience is different. So knowing that going in, your experience would change, would you pick one of those?
Okay, so that means I still could be a fan of the books, though, right?
You can be a fan of the books,
okay,
but you don't get to experience it as a fan.
I'm going to go with director then.
Ooh. Director?
Yes,
wow.
I'm going with director. I would love to
reins.
be, Wayne Yip or Sally Richardson Whitfield saying, yeah, go there, do that. I need more explosions, more fire here,
I'd like to file a grievance. I think Joe's twisting the rules of this.
More fire.
Yeah.
I love it.
Hey, Ashaman can bring the fire.
That's right. Ashaman kill. Come on. We need more killing.
So what I get to say is I want to be an actor who is the innkeeper who runs an inn in Camelin called the Dusty Wheel and happens to talk to people all about theories. So I feel like that way I get to be fan and actor.
Please do
there
that.
We go.
Please do that.
That way I get to change the rules a little bit, I guess.
I can see you just like hunkering down and like one leg up on a bench and like dusting a mug and then talking theories to whoever comes.
Oh yeah,
in. Yeah,
absolutely. That's what
it's like doing like the Sam from Cheers, right?
Well,
you could
have
be
you
Sam
heard about
from
this
Cheers.
one? Yeah,
yeah,
that'd be great.
So we have one caller been waiting. Andrew from North Carolina. Let's bring Andrew in. Hey, Andrew. Welcome to the Dusty Wheel. How you doing tonight?
I'm good. How are you doing?
Good, man. It's good to hear your voice. So we're
Forgot to give Josh a little PTSD. Still having to hear my voice on the Wednesday.
Yeah, exactly. So
I wasn't
what
going to out you, Andrew, but okay.
Oh, I heard his voice. I can recognize it now.
I was out last time I called in, so.
Yeah, exactly. Was it Rob that outed you? I can't remember who outed you. So
no, it wasn't Rob. I forgot who it was.
Oh, maybe. Yeah, I can't remember who it was. So what have you heard so far that you think you have a good answer to, or what have you heard that Josh has said that you want us to tell it that he's wrong about?
So I have two things.
Okay.
People that have listened to our podcast and stuff, especially Josh, would know my degree is in political science. So when you ask for presidential candidates, of course I had to call and give an answer.
Awesome. Okay.
So for me, the absolute creme de la creme of presidential candidates would have to be Tom Drummond.
Interesting. Why?
Who could have a smarter first lady than Tom?
Ooh.
On top of his own experience, he's made his entire living before the exile from Camelin by being around royals. He's got the experience of the dirty, nasty, underhanded side of politics and royalty, and he's traveled the world. So this guy has worldwide experience. He has experience being in nobility around the royals. So I think if I had to pick a character that wasn't already a politician, that had a good feeling for what was needed in the realm of politics and what was needed by the common men, who better than the absolute best Cleeman? And he's his own Secret Service. You don't even have to pay extra Secret Service for him.
The Silver Fox.
Pulls knives out.
Okay, so that is like the
I don't know how you
most
do that.
well-informed opinion so far. No offense to
that's a good
Joe about the
was
candidate. I'm leaning towards him now. I'm like, okay, that is true. He does have all of the things you want in a presidential candidate. I love that.
I particularly loved his point about
But
a
he's-
good first lady.
Yeah, exactly.
I mean, you think about it. If Tom were the president, Moraine would be. I mean, sorry, spoilers. Moraine would be the first lady. And good Lord, I mean, those two in a room, they're dangerous. Sorry,
Yeah, I love
go
it.
ahead.
A lot
Yeah,
of
great idea.
savviness.
Okay, so next.
You gotta have two on as the VP.
Yeah. So your second, what was the second thing that stood out to you during the show that you wanted to comment on?
So the second, I was going to kind of piggyback off of Josh a bit. I'd have to choose Fan, but with the spinoff Clone Wars-esque of the Black Tower, I'd have to be a voice actor for it.
Nice. Yeah. It's so tough, right? As soon as it becomes something that you're really passionate about, you kind of just want to lean away from the fan thing and be like, actually, let me get in there. I need to be part of this story. And that's what I do like about Brandon's story when he talks about this. He really, whatever you think about how Brandon finished the series, he did it, and not a lot of people could have done that.
Yeah.
And whatever you think about Rafe being the person that did this, he's doing it, and he, the things that he has to keep in the air and juggle with everything going on. It's like, do you really want to be that person, or do you just want to watch the end product, or you just want to read the end product? So, yeah, you can detect the passion behind something, but like you said, you have to be a voice actor if they do a spinoff. So, yeah, no, I love those ideas. I love those ideas, Andrew. Is there any parting shot you want to make at Josh before we let you go tonight?
You can't really take a shot at Josh. I mean, just look at that beard.
Well done. Hey, Andrew, man, thanks for calling in. Appreciate it, man. Talk to you soon.
Thanks, y'all. Have a great one.
You too. Bye-bye. Okay, so that brings to the end our Wheel of Game Time. Hopefully all of you enjoyed that. Those who are watching, this is why this is one of my favorite kind of episodes we do. It's just so freeform. You have no idea what people are going to say. I love hearing everyone in the chat. And we just move from topic to topic. And, but what I want to do before we, come to a close tonight is I want each one of you, because I did ask you to kind of bring rants and raves about the Wheel of Time to the table tonight. And you get to choose one. What is you can pick a rant or a rave, and I'm going to start. And Katie, I thought I'd give you the first shot at rants and raves. So which one, you don't have to tell us guess what it is, but yeah, just lead in and pick one and let's hear it.
Okay. So this is regarding the Watton Primes referring to the fandom as wheelies.
Oh. Go, Katie.
Okay, sorry.
Maybe you have to let me finish.
Yeah,
it might not be going the direction you think it is. I don't hate it as much as some people hate it. Okay. But I do have a problem with Dragonsworn. A lot of people have suggested that as that should be the fandom. My problem with Dragonsworn is that there aren't actually dragons in Wheel of Time. We have the dragon as a person, but we don't have creatures that are dragons. And so I feel like Dragonsworn might be too confusing to non-fandom folks, because they'll be like, where are these dragons? I hear about all these Dragonsworn folks on Twitter, and I tune into the show and there's no dragons.
They might be trying to steal some of that Game of Thrones thunder,
Yeah.
Yeah. It might be a little too confusing. Like, they have Mother of Dragons. We have Dragonsworn. It just feels too similar to me.
You bring up, you remind me of a great meme of, there's a picture of it's one of those Drake memes, and it's a picture of Daenerys, and it says, I'm a woman with 3 dragons, and then it's below it, it's the Wheel of Time, and it's I'm a dragon with 3 women.
I love that. By the way, you did catch me off guard that I was like, oh, she's just going to go to town on the wheelies thing. And she's like, in fact, Dragonsworn. That needs to get out. That you took a little twist there, and I appreciated that. Okay, so rant or rave. Let's give you the floor. Rant or rave, pick yours, and let's hear it.
Okay, so that was a good one. I could have gone off on the wheelie thing, but I'm going to go a little different. So mine is regarding Lanfear, and don't worry, Matt, I'm not gonna bash Lanfear or anything. It's about casting Lanfear. So if you're part of the Wheel of Time Facebook groups, there's a lot of fan casting going on, and people are constantly posting pictures of women who they think should play Lanfear, and there's always 1 or 2 people who are always saying not pretty enough. And I just I'm sorry. I want to punch those people in the face, because hello, no one, the way she's described in the books, nobody is pretty enough to play Lanfear. All right. So you're going to have to settle on whoever they pick, and you're going to have to like it, and don't complain about it, because it's basically an impossible casting. So that's my rant.
I love it. By the way, you brought up Lanfear, which is awesome.
And all the women that post are pretty, are beautiful. They're all beautiful women that people are posting up there. So
how about this? Chris Hemsworth for Lanfear. He's pretty enough.
I'm in. All in.
Do it. He's got the flow. It's
my thing about Lanfear is that she's the most beautiful woman to Rand. For whatever reason, they have this connection. They have this pheromone thing. We don't necessarily have to think she's the most beautiful, but Rand, something about her just
not just Rand though. Some of the other, Matt even describes her that way. as
Loyal,
well.
loyal
One-
describes her.
Yeah, and
One
loyal
point,
too.
though. One point of fact, though. Lanfear is your quintessential Instagram e-girl, though. Because they talk specifically about her using the power to accentuate her
She filters. She
beautiful-
filters hard.
She
Yeah.
definitely
Yeah.
uses those Saidar filters. Okay.
Right.
Angles, camera angles.
Exactly. She's got it all.
I'm gonna bring a point of order here as far as the canon goes, which is Lanfear does change her appearance, so she doesn't always have to be the best looking or the most,
Boom.
and this idea
She can
of
look like
she has to
Sylvie.
be. She can look whoever she wants to look like, and so they don't have to play too much towards that. So,
Or
but
the-
yeah, great. That's a great rant. I mean, anytime we talk about Lanfear is great. So, in my opinion, so let's hear it, Brett. Rant or rave? It's your floor. Let's hear it.
Yeah, I mean, this has always been a tough one because I've just been in love with this series the entire time. So mostly it's a rave, but just coming back to the books, less about the TV show. I think my favorite thing about this book series, what really kicks it in for me, is the subtlety of everything. Like everything is so under the wire. No, like you really don't have any clear answers on so many topics. And we never really will because RJ obviously, is gone. So he's not here to like clarify so many fan theories. And my favorite thing about this series is the discussion and the fan theories and the Discord chats and everybody individually coming up with all these crazy theories that may or may not be true. Yeah, so that's pretty much it. Like I got nothing else for you. So
yeah, I love the rave, and I'm always into theories, as they say.
It's
so
great. It's frustrating when it doesn't get like confirmed, like so many things. But
yeah,
that's where we are.
I feel that every day.
Yeah.
There's stuff that I wish I could go back and ask him.
It hurts.
It hurts. Yeah, I hear that.
Yeah.
Okay, Josh, you have our final rant or rave. Maybe I'll throw something at the end. But what's your rant or rave about the Wheel of Time?
First off, I'd like to say I'm honored to have the last rant or rave. Thank you so much. I appreciate that. And this is one that I'm going to start off by saying I am guilty of this myself in my early reads of the Wheel of Time. The true source and the one power are two different things. They are not interchangeable. The true source and the one power are two different things. The one power is broken up into Saidin and Saidar. That is what most people use. When we get Moradin accessing the true source, and he's got the little black dots across his eye, the true power. Thank you. Sorry, my own rant, and I'm messing it up. Thank you all. That's what I've got for tonight. See you later. Good grief. No, but I know there's a lot of people online that when they're discussing, the power and things like that, they discuss the true power and
yeah.
It's a very nitpicky point to make. It really is, but it's kind of like,
well, you're bringing up a rant that's going to happen a lot. And what I mean by that is, yes. Oh my gosh, get ready, because there's going to be a lot of these questions about, is Oliver Geidel Kane, Can
I raise my hand for something?
Yeah, let's hear it.
I'm Canadian, so I got to be polite about it. But so, the Winter Dragon really ruined a lot of things, because in the Winter Dragon prologue, they talk about how the bad guys use the true power and the good guys use the one power. They make that distinction of good guys using one and bad guys using the other. And I really, really, really hope that the TV show, and one of my like big red flag alarms going off in my head that I really hope doesn't happen, is I hope they don't try to distinguish like bad guys use that and good guys use this, because that's going to cause a whole bunch of issues, especially with the whole Rand Min issue later on in the series. So yeah. Okay. Well, sorry. That should have been my
that was good.
Rant.
That was good. I appreciate all of your rants and raves. Yeah. I appreciate those. My rave is going to be about Rafe Zoom bombing us, as we talked about earlier. The reason why I'm raving about that is because I think Brandon did this really well too. Brandon didn't come in to something like this, something big in fandom, and just thumb his nose at the fans. He came in and he engaged with the fans. He talked about things. He actually asked questions, right? He didn't put himself above and just, like write the books and walk away. He engaged with fans. So I really, I know it's probably not totally comfortable in a situation where you're just surrounded by a bunch of fans that really want to know information, are really curious, are really, are going to have a lot of comments about what you have to say, and they're going to be nitpicky about the minutia a bit. And so the fact that he jumped on with us and talked to us, and the fact that other actors are doing the same, more power to them. I think your engaging fandom is a huge, important thing at this stage, especially for those of us, it's less about winning us over and more about proving to us that you care. And so my rave is I appreciate that the actors and directors and such have demonstrated to us that they care about the story itself and about fandom around it. So, and it's on that note that I want to thank all 4 of you for joining me. By the way, if you're still watching with us, please go check out in the description. I have links to all of these wonderful channels and podcasts. And please go follow them, listen to them. It's so amazing to me how many podcasts there are and how many YouTube channels and how many people on Instagram and Facebook are all talking about the Wheel of Time. You're going to find your crowd. You're going to find the voices that appeal to you. You might find multiple voices. Go give every one of these individuals a try, a chance, and find your people among fandom. It happens all the time. Like I said, join them all, follow them all, and hopefully you'll come back and be with us. We're going to have another show probably Saturday, Sunday. We'll do one next Wednesday. Make sure you go join that giveaway. I mean, seriously, like a hardcover Eye of the World. I can't wait to give those away next Watt Wednesday. So, and while you're here, if you want to see Taylor put together this awesome unboxing video all about the mugs that we have for our guests and for our live viewers at times, go watch that. It's like 2 minutes of your life. It's a lot of fun. You can kind of see some of the camera work he's done there. He has a nice eye. So check that out. Like the video, subscribe to us, and come see us in Discord after the show. We'll be in there shortly. So, and as we say around here, good night from the Dusty Wheel and smash to black.
If you want news and rumors that appeal, welcome to the Dusty Wheel.